it's been an amazing process for me because I started with studying anthropology in college, and that's really the study of human behavior. So I came into the fire service with sort of an interesting perspective of always realizing that I was participating in a really amazing and kind of elite and unique workforce. This profession it offers things that other professions simply do not. And we have a unique culture and a unique understanding. So for me, the process of coming into this job, learning my craft, trying to develop competency, and then building up through different ranks and different specialties. I've had the opportunity to do hazardous materials training. I've become a paramedic. I'm a water rescue specialist. I've done technical rescue training. And it's just been amazing to learn all the different things that we do in this profession. And I've had the opportunity to then go on to Naval Postgraduate School as a member of the fire service because we represent the front line of Homeland Security. I went on a full scholarship to Naval Postgraduate School where I studied with firefighters and police and military from across the country. And so this journey for me has been like just a continuous education. And when we talk about that servant leadership model, I think about the inverted triangle. And I think now I have a much better sense of that the more one develops in their career, the more they bear the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. And it puts our firefighters at the top of that model, and it puts the chief officers at the base, really supporting those above them. So I really think of those at the front line as really, those are my bosses. That's who I work for. That's who I'm here to serve. So it's been kind of amazing. I became division chief this year, and it's been a real privilege. And so I think for me, just the older I got and the more time I spent in the profession, the more I realized that I had things to teach. And so I think of it as now an opportunity to connect people. I really serve mostly as a catalyst. I put things together, I build networks, and I help people get the resources they need. So one of the amazing things about leadership is you don't have to go in knowing everything, but you do need to know how to solve the problem. You need to find a pathway to get people the tools that they need. So that is one of the major things I do as a division chief on a daily basis.
So something that we're really proud of, at CSFA and as a 100-year-old trade association is the LEDS committee. And the LEDS committee has gained just a lot of notoriety for obviously positive reasons, and now fire departments throughout the state are actually looking at the LEDS committee as a model of what they should do at their own organizations. So of course you've been a big part of that. So when you think about LEDS, what does each one of those, the acronym, mean to you? So leadership, equity, diversity, and service.
Oh, so I really was very excited to become a part of the LEDS committee, and that's really what brought me into the CSFA. So part of the course of my studies is looking at diversity in the fire service. So I spoke to you a little bit about leadership and what that means to me. But the other components of LEDS, equity, diversity, and service, what CSFA is doing is they're really helping to identify the components and the issues and the obstacles of the modern fire service. We have about 88,000 firefighters in this state. And we have an opportunity to reach out to them and help bring education to each of their agencies and help the leaders in those agencies solve problems. So there's always a desire within our agencies and our communities to make sure that our fire departments are representative of the communities that they serve. And so that's where LEDS comes in, because when they're looking at equity, equity is an interesting word that's really entered into our vernacular just recently. But equity is really about things like socioeconomic imbalances. It's about taking people who maybe didn't have the opportunity to get the schooling that they needed and then making sure that they have a fair shot when it comes to the moment of application. So we can create a portal for entry to make sure that people have all the resources they need to get a reasonable amount of training so that they can actually compete in the workforce. And this can be a very competitive industry to get into. And so those people who have innate advantages they're seeming to always fare better than people who have no idea, maybe didn't have exposure to fire service, maybe didn't have family members that were in fire service, but they've all got fire engines in their neighborhoods. So people know that we're out there, but they don't know how to get to us sometimes. So that's what equity means to me. It's a way of bringing us to them and making sure they know they're welcome here, because we're here to serve the public, and we work for them. And they need to know that if they want to be a part of this team, they have that opportunity. And diversity is often considered just an issue of race, creed, the things that are laid out in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That defines the dimensions that we often refer back to. But for me, when I look at diversity, I think of diversity of thought. Like, that's one of the biggest challenges, is getting people that are not necessarily like-minded, do not necessarily agree with each other's life ways or religions or lifestyles, to work together. So for me, whenever I'm framing diversity, I always think of the things that we have in common and the common mission, and how you can help people to respect one another, not just tolerate each other. I really want people to feel inclusive to one another. And there is a way to do that, but it takes strong leadership, because it takes leaders to guide those conversations at the coffee table, and it takes people who care about the ultimate outcome and the culture of the environment. So that's diversity. And service, as I said, that ties back into the leadership model. Is like, we are servant leaders, so as we represent our agencies and our departments within the community, we're like ambassadors. And so we always say we sometimes see people on their worst day of their lives. You know, sometimes we meet them in the most dire moment, and sometimes it's all a blur and they don't remember what happened. But people don't always remember what you said to them, but they remember how you made them feel. And so as servants in the community, it's one of our greatest privileges. We get to be with people at the moment of their birth, the moment of their death, the most difficult moments of their lives. And we get to work to save their property, their homes, their livelihoods. So it's a beautiful profession, and LEDS is really about bringing that opportunity to serve in this amazing industry to a broader array of people. So I think CSFA has done an amazing job with the outreach that we've done and the continued education that we're providing.
Go to csfa.net for additional information. And please remember that for the price of a good cup of coffee once a month, you too can help provide necessary equipment, training, and education for those that support you and serve you throughout California. Thank you.